Welcome back to the Pulver Report. Oh my gosh, it's Friday. Happy June 21st. It is a triple witching day. We have AM expirations, we have at the close expirations on ETFs, on individual stocks, and indexes. So, big options day today. Hopefully, we see some direction and volatility. Let's get started. Let's chat about stocks, options, futures, forex, cryptos. This is your triple witching for the day. $5.9 trillion of equities to expire today, and it's all over the place. So we've got the S&P, 4.4 trillion. You got the NDX, the RTY, so the Russell and the Nasdaq, 675 billion. Single stocks, 870 billion. Holy liquidity on that SPY, pretty impressive. We have a $3.6 trillion AM total, and we have a 2.3 trillion PM total at the close today. I'm looking at price. We closed at 545.19 on the SPY. We closed at, let's go SPX. We closed around 54.72 on the SPX. Very curious where this opens up for the day and where we go. All eyes most likely going to be on the three largest stocks in the world. That would be your NVIDIA, which had a day yesterday to the downside. I think it was like 8 or 9%. So that was a sell-off of around 7%, top to bottom around 7.8%. Apple had a rough couple of days. Apple's down the last 48 hours. We've had a decline, I want to say close to 10%. We had actually I just saw 9.83 points, but 4.49% on Apple. And Microsoft, I don't think moved a ton yesterday. We had yesterday with a long wick to the south. So Microsoft in the last 48 hours was down as much as 1.95%, has come back a little bit to less than 1% to the downside. Pre-market's actually up. Let's go Apple. Pre-market is up slightly on Apple. More than likely, there's going to be a crazy amount of call option volume today, whether that's directional or not. We will see if that open interest gets filled. It's pretty crazy. It's like a call to put ratio at like 11 to 1. That's what I read in the article. So yeah, let's take a look at everything. Game City says you've on pound yen gold intraday, no problem. Daniel, nice to see you this morning. Hope you're going to have another great day. You said you had a roller coaster ride yesterday, but ended up with over 5K across the board. That was pretty sweet. I'm just happy it's Friday. This has been a long week. The combination of day-to-day stuff and all day in the markets, and then my week was a lot of fun. I had junior golf this week. Tis the season, summer, and we got lots of kids in the golfing community. So it was a crazy week. Shout out to all the kids that came out this week. It was a lot of fun. Nobody got hurt, so that's good. And we got a lot. So I've got some good trades running this week. I am curious to see how this closes today. We're sitting at 544.85, slightly down pre-market. Today's candle, will really be a tell-all. Like I said, watch the Apple close, watch the daily and weekly, watch the SPY. We talked about this yesterday. I went live in the afternoon just to do a little all markets update. And the SPY on the weekly time frame, let me show this. So a little bit of a red day yesterday. We're still overbought on the daily chart and the weekly chart. Here's the weekly time frame. Depending on how today closes, I mentioned this yesterday in my live session. If we close down on the day and it takes a little bit more out of this green candle body and it leaves a longer wick to the north, that could be setting up for a nice little evening star going into the next couple weeks of trading. The Qs actually look a little bit more primed for that, especially have some heavy profit taking in the semiconductor space. That was essentially the heat map yesterday. So if I go heat map, I don't know if it's going to pop up here. Yeah, this was yesterday's heat map. So really, Apple was down in the day. All your semiconductors down enough to really turn the market slightly south, which isn't a surprise with the largest company in the world. Energy was up. My portfolio was actually pretty green yesterday, considering the market was down. I think that the S&P was down like 0.5%, 0.6%, down about 0.3 as of yesterday. And then, I was going to say that the NASDAQ was down like almost 0.8%. So NASDAQ was down decently. The SPY was down about 1/3, but the DIA was up. So let's check and see how those are doing. But the Qs, if we have a little bit of a profit taking happening in tech, semiconductor space as well. The one thing that we could also consider is if I mean, with this little pullback, is this something that's just going to launch traders into like buying crazy amounts of calls, or is Nvidia after a 100+% rally and an 80+% rally? Are we actually going to see a little bit more volatility to the downside? Look, if Nvidia drops, let's say Nvidia chews up a little bit more of this bullish candle from last week, it is large enough with $3.22 trillion. If we have another, let's say, I mean, yesterday was about a 7% day. So if we had a 7% high to low wick on the week, do we have another 10% to the downside? I mean, I would welcome some opportunities to, get long at a much lower price. But you got to wonder if these bulls give no funyuns about Nvidia, and this is just more and more and more, and we're talking blow off top. If this thing just reverses and rips higher, but if we have a bit more of a pullback, that is, like I said, totally welcome. I'm trying to take some ownership of Nvidia sub $100. I think I have like a 95/80 ratio spread. I did that as soon as we had the split, and right now it's looking like that's in full profit. Same thing on SMCI. Same thing on AM. What was the other one? AMS? No. What's the not AMC? I don't want to trade AMC. What is my other semiconductor? What's the big one with the AMD? Duh, AMD. AMD down about 30 cents. So anyway, weekly candle, very interested to see how the week closes. If we take a little bit more out of these bullish bodies and it ends up with a long wick to the north, like I said, watch out for those evening stars. DIA this week is actually green, down about about 80 cents pre-market or so. I do have a ratio spread here that's looking pretty good. Those go out to July. I've got a wide bull put spread as well. I'm looking to buy the DIA in this area. Look to take some ownership of the DIA if possible. Same thing on the SPY, same thing on the Qs. And I do still have a call condor running today that I'll be watching on the SPX. This is the week thus far. We had that blow off move on Monday. Tuesday was thin trading. Wednesday was a holiday. Thursday was our little directional day yesterday. We did take out the low and had a nice clean breakout. That was a break from 54.87 down to about 55, another 30-point breakout. SPY was down about $5 from high to low. Curious. Again, we don't have to take out today's low, or I'm sorry, we don't have to take out the weekly low because that rarely happens. I mean, again, this low is only about a 12% probability of being tested, but we could take out this week's low, and that'll mix it up a little bit. We're actually break a high for the week and try to maybe test. But the one thing we still have is a pretty noticeable gap from that CPI blow off gap that we had last Tuesday to Wednesday. So if the market is at all interested in some profit taking, I have some chart alarms set here. 54.50 is only another 20 points lower. To me, that would be a pretty great trade on my call condor to come back into that 54.50 zone. One second. Okay. To optimize that position, that give me about a $5 credit as opposed to the 40-cent credit that I took on the trade originally. So I'm kind of cheering on a little bit more downside today, but I could be dead wrong. We'll see. But it would be nice to see a bunch of call options today expire worthless, because that's usually the statistic. About 70 to 73% of options do expire out of the money and therefore expire worthless. And so if that's all these call option volumes sitting up here at 550 or above, I hope they get crushed today, but that's just me. So let me go back to my pre-market on the SPY levels I'm watching. Let's float this out here. So I have a big gamma level at 550, and I have a big gamma level down here at 540, and we're sitting at 545. When we have opening bell this morning, I want to see how expensive or inexpensive it is to play something today only, or going out to Monday to see if we get a directional day. Now, granted, because I've got to pay for the weekend, if I'm going to buy premium on that and do a little bit of a long strangle, then I don't want to pay more than like probably $2 or $3 because I think that if we had a $5 move up or $5 move down, that's enough to cover the cost of my trade and get me some profit on it. But I want to see what that costs. If it costs me $4 or $5, I'm not going to take the trade. But if it costs me $2.50, I might take the trade, go up, go down, see what price can give me by Monday. Or I can look at next week as well and maybe do a tight like I'll call it like the double debit spread, where I can do a bear put spread and a bull call spread and see what that asks for debit wise. So let's say good morning, everybody. I'll run through the weather report. I'll take a look at that pound yen and gold for you there, Game City. David, good morning. FK, good morning. Chris, good morning. Garrett, good morning. Nice to see everybody. Good morning and happy Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. All right. So we'll start with our SPY. Like I said, down a little bit pre-market. It is the futures wise. We're starting to go up. Let me go into E-mini futures really quickly for the feed. Let's go to a smaller time frame. So we're fighting back a little bit, but if I'm watching the E-mini futures feed, I would say that if we break below 55.30, let's see if we poke a low on the day. We'll go fresh lows and see if there's any momentum behind that move. If we go up here and break out above 55.55, it's going to set a couple chart alarms on the futures feed. Let's see, bulls. Making a move. So if the bulls want to retest some recent highs, those would be the levels I'm watching. And speaking of bull, this little guy, this little bull right here, he'll just lay down and chill. All right. SPY right there. SPX DIA is down pre-market about $1. Qs down only a little bit. That's interesting. So pre-market SP down more, Dow is down more, Qs down hardly at all. I would say 15-minute time frame. With this big CPI gap, this could be a potential. If it pauses today, this is one thing I'd be watching for. Just with the price action from yesterday, just you see that just flipped up. So Qs are trying to flip up and maybe have a little bit of love this morning. They're up about 14 cents now. But if we have high, low, and it stalls in here, I'd say the pressure is if we're going to continue lower. If we break this low in the morning, then look out for some direction to repressure these lows and possibly come back and challenge that CPI gap from last week. Right? If we come up this morning and we go right above here, a simple breakout retesting highs could also be possible. So if you're looking for a couple dollars, NDX and Qs, this would give us a breakout. Let me find some numbers here. So if we break out above, this is 482.75, possibly retesting highs at 487. Wow, that's not bad. That's about a $3 to $4 move right there, retest highs. If we break the low, same type of thing. Average move on the day is about $5, still going back 14 days. And if we broke below 480, 480 opens up a pretty big directional move. If we have a massive directional move to the downside, 470 starts to fill that gap. So that'd be a big, big, big day if we had a $10 move in the Qs. I don't know if we're going to get that much volatility, but if we do, that's another thing we can look at is maybe having a bit of a sell-off event or a bit of a VIX rally. So the VIX right now trading around 1346. If we have more selling pressure, then we might have this spike up to like $14, $15. I do have a VIX position that I'm out till August on, but if I can get this thing to spike up here towards 15, 15.50 or $16, I think at this point, if I even have let's say $1,000 profit on the VIX, I might just take it. So I still have a call option out to August. If we have a decent spike up, I can get maybe close to $1 net profit. I think I'm in like maybe 50 contracts whole, and I don't know. I think I would take that as a little portfolio hedge. A lot of my ownership positions I put on collars or I bought some puts, so I'm protecting a lot of my positions right now. CVS today is another stock I could get called away for profit. It's going to be close, but if we clean to $60 or better, I get the stock called away with a break even around 54. So make about $6 a share and do a little flipperooski on that one. And then Chewy, this one is a covered call at 27.50. I do have a strangle running on MO, which is Altria. The 47.50, I think today's an expiration that looks pretty safe. 47.50 is just above this high. And then I have a 37.50 on the strangle side. So I sold a strangle where 47.50 is my upside, 37.50 is my downside. I'm taking this all the way to expiration, lower my cost basis by about 35 cents. And today's the expiration on that. Let's see who else is popping in the room here. Catherine, good morning. Equity curve, I saw that, Danielle. Take a look at that today. You want me to look at your P&L from yesterday? That's fine. Okay, let's go dollar index. Dollar index. It's 9. That was weird. I just got to injection. It's only 9:15. Strange. Dollar index 105.77. I had said if we get above 105.60, I'm interested in the bullishness continuing. It's almost there. It looks fairly convincing. Yesterday's candle with the daily did close above 105.60. Today is going to be important day and week to close above or below. If we can cling to this 105.60 close above, that's to me a pretty good sign that if we were to take this trade, either a stop loss below this week's low or a stop loss below the swing, and look to see if the dollar gains some traction to the upside, you'll fall out of your chair. I don't know. I think you know me well enough that I'm pretty even keeled. So unless you're sending me something that isn't trading related. Let me see here. Exercise. All right. What's going on with this account here? Uh-oh, we got an assignment somewhere? What just happened? That can't be right. BABA, Costco, DIA, GLD, IBIT. What just got exercised? That's strange. KWeb, SPY. Oh, I got short. Oh, the iron. Oh, you turds. They assigned me on the SPY. Fudge. The bear call spread got assigned on this account. I'll take care of that. All right, that's no problem. So I still have the long call to offset this, but assigning short, that's a little bit annoying. But I still have the long call here. I should have the June 21st 547 call, so I can close out the long call with the share price, get it wiped away, and I had like 100 grand in this account yesterday. That was the only one that got assigned. That's annoying. So this account as well. All right, that's not a problem. I'll get those both taken care of. Okay, that happens every now and then with those option trades you get assigned. So I'll go in and fix those up this morning. Actually, the broker might do it for me, but if I choose that I'm monitoring because I want to take assignment if I'm interested. But in this case, I'm obviously not interested in being short the SPY unless it's just an option trade, not through ownership. I don't want to sell on margin. So anyway, that is 9732. 9072. Need to fix the SPY on those, no problem. All right, I'll take care of those. And dollar index, like I said, if the daily, weekly time frame can close above 105.60, I'm looking for the dollar to continue to inch higher. Typically, that correlation would mean dollar strength, equities weakness. We'll see if that is going to hold true, or if today's candle and price action actually, fade the dollar a little bit, finish below 105.60. Then this is still a range trade to me. We're not clearing this high yet. We're still in this range, and we are watching for summer chop on the dollar crosses. But if we get above here, I'm looking for some dollar strength. The last couple of weeks, we've seen some of that monetary policy divergence we've talked about. European Central Bank cut rates. The Bank of Canada cut rates. Swiss National Bank came in with a surprise yesterday, cut rates to 1.25% from a 1.5 forecast. So the market wasn't even expecting that for this week's forecast. That was a nice little surprise. Yesterday's currency strength was very weak on the Swiss, which I loved. And we're going to see if that's going to continue a little bit more. Today's price action, pretty choppy. New Zealand up, Aussie up, fading back down. Dollars at baseline. We'll see what type of price action opens things up this morning. If we have a bit of a, let's see if a winner emerges or a loser emerges, and see if this volatility opens up a little bit today. But that's my dollar index. Oil is up, and oil does not want to pull back. Look at that nice 2-week turnaround on oil to the daily time frame. I still like this idea of any type of pullback. I think this is a good swing to the upside. If we see a left, in this case, it looks like a bull crown, so we look for something like this on oil. If we have any type of pullback, I'm looking for a swing opportunity and see if oil wants to continue to head higher, retest the highs around 86, 87, range highs around 93 or so. Give me 1 second. Everyone can see that. But I mean, oil looks pretty good. So I have a crude oil futures option with a stop loss below. If we have a bit of a pullback, I might put in the same thing with another stop loss below and just get a slightly better entry since I was doing that trade up here. So I'm looking at about $100 profit if we stay above 72.50. If I could tighten that up a little bit, I will look to do that. But oil is charging ever so slightly higher. Gold and silver. Gold's had a better week than it has the last couple of months, but it's still in this correction zone. We're still not breaking new highs. I put on a covered call yesterday with my GLD positions to lower my cost basis. That's one I'm going to be monitoring. GLD would have to get above 232.50, which is up to fresh highs. We also have to get above 235, which would be up above highs. We're sitting pre-market up a little bit, 218.33, but I think 232.50 is a tough one right now. I think I sold like a 10 or 15 delta on those calls. And then silver, let's go SLV for a moment. Silver trading at 27.63 pre-market. I would potentially take some ownership in July in SLV. And here's my XIG position. Let's look at this on the daily time frame. This one looks pretty good. I still like this look to silver. I don't think that it's ready to just full on break out, but it's getting pretty close. This trend line is pretty well supported. We start getting some bullishness up here. That looks a lot better for a break, maybe a pause, and then silver hopefully postured to head higher. I still have a measured move towards 35 and change, and then another measured move towards 45 and change. So I still like silver, and all I'm really looking for on the price action is, can we break a trend line there with some bullishness? Come back into the stream, grab some questions here. I got to carry with a marker. Yeah, that's fine. Let me see where your email was. Equity curve. Oh boy. Yeah, I'll share that picture. That was all just yesterday. Let me see. That's a wild day, man. When you said roller coaster, you weren't joking. So this is Daniel. Up to down, in the red for the day, came back and ended up finishing the day on the high. I mean, that is certainly a wild day. Did you end up green on the day? Looks like you said yesterday you closed around like 5K across the board. But wow, how many trades? How many trades did it take you to get that for the day? That is a wild day for sure. And I like your drawings as well. Not sure what that is. Crazy stuff. That is. So, I mean, again, you could have quit when it was red. You could have quit and been frustrated, but the fact you stayed in there and powered through it, congrats, and great trading, man. Just to get through it and gut it out for the day. Certainly not easy. So you stayed calm, cool, and collected, and did your thing. So, all right, that's silver, that's gold. Let's talk crypto for a moment. I'll do some currencies here in FX. I want to get pound yen for Game City. Bitcoin, oh boy, what's up, Bitcoin? 63.5. Well, I don't know. I mean, we could argue that we just haven't broken the highs, haven't broken the lows. A little bit of risk off trading is certainly showing up in crypto a little bit. I guess I'm not really making too much of this outside of, let's see what happens if we come back into 60 or we crack this $60,000 level. I would give the bulls one chance to defend it. I mean, if we came down to 60K, bulls can defend the trend line, or we have a fake out right here at these lows. Those bulls better rip this thing higher to show that they are still around and not just giving up after making all-time highs. So I will be keeping an eye on that 60 to 56K level on Bitcoin. See if we can make our way back up to 72, 74. That's a couple chart alarms I want to pay close attention to. Ethereum, same type of thing. Trend line support out here, but we might end up coming back to the same lows. So if this is, let's say, equal lows, okay, oops, that's not drawn very well. Let's say we have equal lows and we have slightly lower highs. Bulls have gotten us here. So let's see if the bulls can kind of maintain. This might be some consolidation we have to deal with, right? This might go on longer than we expect. But as long as we hold these levels, hold these lows, I'd still be looking for bullish upside. So again, chart alarm set above and below. I do have some futures contracts running on micro Ethereum. futures, and we'll see if any of these fill. I have a 3175 and a 2900 long position, but I'll watch those and see what the expirations are. If they get filled, I want to see what the contracts are and the timing. So I'll take a look at that actually today, because I think I have one. I might take a small loss if I don't. I'm trying to think what my expiration is on my micro futures here. So this shows expiration 10 days out. So I've got to, I don't know, I've got to see some bullishness, or it's going to be a tiny little loss. All right, we're about 5 minutes away from opening bell. First thing I need to do is get rid of my my S&P assignments on those iron condors, which again, no big deal. That's just silly that they assigned it when obviously I'm not trying to be short. I will see if the broker immediately comes in and exercises my long call, but we're sitting right in between. That's what's dumb is like, why did I get assigned when it should have been an at the close, right? And I'm sitting right in between my bear call spread levels, and they assigned me today, right before opening bell. So whatever, I'll fix it. And let's get some currencies now. Aussie CAD, 100. Wait a minute, what? So hang on. How many trades yesterday? There's no way. You took 191 trades yesterday, or no? Or is that for like last couple months? I want to know what yesterday was. If that's yesterday, man, you trading a bot? Like, is that humanly possible to take 191 trades unless you're trading like literally minute by minute? How many minutes? 191 trades. How many minutes are in? I mean, I don't know. Five accounts. Well, still, even 5 accounts by 191, that's taking a lot of trades, right? I mean, you're taking almost 40 trades per account. I don't know, man. That's wild. That is wild. All right, Aussie CAD. I still like long. I'm just going to run through the charts and the directions here. Aussie CAD long, Aussie Swiss long, Aussie yen. We've broken some fresh highs on the yen crosses. So again, do I want to buy this? I mean, I've been focusing on staying long against the yen, not really believing that this thing's going to turn south aggressively. But if and when it does, it's going to be pretty nasty. Let's go FXY. We're probably at some fresh lows in FXY. We are. Not by a ton, but I started to dip in with a slight ownership position in FXY, as opposed to jumping into the option trade. But I will certainly look to play some options later on if I can time this well over like a 12 to 24 month window. But right now, a little bit lower on FXY. Aussie yen also breaking the intervention highs over the last 3 days. Let's go to our currencies. Aussie New Zealand hit a nice little pocket at 108.90. Move the stop loss to break even at a 108.39 entry. Right now, that's break even. Aussie dollar still very choppy. Waiting for a little bit more decision on this currency pair, either break above or below. Again, if dollar index breaks higher, got to wonder if the Aussie dollar is going to come back in and break this yellow box to the downside. CAD Swiss, nice turn. I'd like to see it stabilize here or just start to rip higher, fill some pockets. And I mean, the Swiss National Bank is cut. This offers a differential between 4.75 and 1.25. So you're looking at a 3.5% differential on that swap. And hopefully, I mean, oil is also rallying. I know that the BOC cut, but it would be nice to see a little bit of cooperation with that Swiss National Bank cutting. CAD yen has not broken the intervention highs yet, but still from the intervention high to low, it's up and it's up again. Don't be surprised if this thing tests the highs. Swiss yen was off to some fresh highs by quite a bit. This cleared the highs by about 300 pips. Another one that, if you're paying attention to this one, there might be an interesting trend line drawn right there to see if this will kind of roll over and offer a weaker Swiss. But I'd rather trade the Swiss crosses elsewhere and not the Swiss yen. Euro Aussie continues to head lower. We talked about being short on this break around 61.51. I said look left and see if we get to the round number at 6,000. We've had a low as of today around 60.30 or so. Euro CAD also. I'm CAD Swiss long, so I'm looking for CAD Swiss long to be Euro CAD short. This is cooperating, and this would be the trend line that I'm watching right there. And if we break, it's looking like break, retest, and go. Try to retest this 44.70 zone. All right, so we open lower. First thing I'm going to do here is try to fix up these accounts, get this back. So let me go SPY here. take this and exercise. Let me see what my call is trading for right now. So I was assigned at 542 and for 547. So call. See if I can get anything out of this close. This is trading for 36 cents. And if I pair that with here, close. So I'm just looking to exercise everything to make sure it's fair. 547, it technically should be negative, but it's worth about 36 cents. If I close out my shares, it should all balance out. For a credit spread loss, I just want to make sure that, yeah. So let me try. It's going to be fairly volatile, so I don't want to get the wrong price on the call option, and I don't want price to jump around too much. So I'm going to see if we kind of immediately jump out and sell down slightly, and if we do, then I'll close out the shares. Let's see if we come back to 542 today to the downside. If that's the case, I can kind of mitigate the bear call spread. And I was going to take like a $4 loss in the position, but I still have a bull put spread that's going to be profitable. It's still going to be like a $4 loss unless I can sit on this and watch price actually fall to 542 or lower today, because that's where I was assigned. So I'm short at 542. I can turn this into a profit if we get below that today. So level wise, I still see that 550 on the upside. I still see the 540 on the downside. Let me price one thing out really quickly. I'm going to look at let's see, that is my Ethereum trade. I need to see if we can get below 54.40 today on the SPX. 340 debit, 415 debit. I'll let that kind of marinate for the day. Position wise, let me go back to the SPY. And if we have this kind of triple witching, are we going to have enough direction to maybe play the SPY today? I can look at today's expiration or go to Monday. What would it cost me if I did an at the money? It's going to be like, I knew it. It's going to be like $3. So that's not right. So if I did we're at 544.70. If I did a 545 and a 544, it's going to cost $3. If I sell a 550 or a 39, it's going to cost me 272. If I take this trade out to Monday, can I get a $3 to $5 move by today or Monday? I freaking hope so. I think I'm going to take this trade and see if this kind of triple witching volatility gives me something good, or I can go out to next week. What's it going to cost me if I went all the way out to the 28th? Let me see. Let me get rid of this. If I did a 545, 544, it's going to cost me 650. Let's go $10. So 534 to 555 cost me $5 for a move that I think is capable next week of something. Could I go up a little bit higher, lower? Sure, maybe. Let's go to like 5. See if I can keep it under $6. Where's that CPI gap at? CPI gap around 5377. SPY CPI gap is around 536. Okay. 536. And I mean, if we blow the tops off here, now I'm getting a little bit more favor to the downside. This isn't a bad trade. I don't mind this going to the next week. Next week is also a quarterly expiration. So today we have triple witching with the combination of ETFs, indexes, and individual options all expiring today, AM and PM. I mean, I could just take it for today's expiration or Monday's expiration, but obviously, if I want to give myself more time, we have a $11 to $12 expected move on the week, and I'm only going to pay $5 for it. Give myself $10 of upside. Give myself about $12 to $13 of downside right there. I mean, I don't mind paying $575, $576 for this trade tomorrow or for next Friday. I'm going to take this trade. Let me go ahead and see if I can get in here for like $575. $575, see if I can take this trade individual. place. Let's go 77. 78. Okay, filled for 578. Let's go similar on that. I'm going to throw this in for everyone else as well. That's a SPY trade. Make sure I don't have any other expirations. SPY to the 28th, no expirations. Okay, looks good. So trade here. $577. Couple more accounts to run through. 7634. 9151. Okay, so that's a fresh trade for today. I'm going out the next week on that. That's a SPY, little double debit spread. See if I can get, $8, $9, $10 of movement. So SPY, it's a 628 expiration. That is a 545 by 555, and that's a 544 by 530. 5.77 debit. All right. One other trade I want to look at today on the SPX. I'm just tracking this. I talked about a zero DTE strangle strategy with a study that Tasty Trade did. We're opening up right around this 554.70. So if I center the trade on that, yesterday was a win as well as full profit. 621 centered position is 54.70. That would be a -1. And at my sell legs, if I did the 17 delta here, that'd be about 25 points up. So I'd be selling the 54.95. If I want to get slightly less probability or a higher probability and slightly less premium, go 5,500. So that'd be a 25-point move. And then here about the 554.35. Okay, so let me see what that gives me. So I'm looking at a 5,500 and 54.35. Premium right now showing 425, but that's going to be higher because I'm going to have to spread this. So let's go 20 points up and 35 to 15, 20 points up. Now let's get a 305. So 305 credit. If I'm looking at a 15% take profit, so 305 times 0.15. So looking at about a 45 cent. So minus 3.05 puts me at $260. So if that was my debit for this morning is $260. See if that grabs me 45 bucks. So I'll watch that this morning. These are trades that I've been tracking for the last week and a half. And usually this only takes about 60 to 90 minutes to materialize and show some profit. Again, one side could be tested, and this is why I'm testing the strategy. But it's been interesting within the first couple of hours to take a trade, grab a quick 15% take profit just with quick time decay. And, it's not too bad making 45 to 60 bucks a day. That's roughly what it is if you're going for those aggressive take profits. Yesterday was, like I said, you could put the trade in, and it actually closed for full profit yesterday for a $3 credit. But let's see what we get. Okay. All right. So I'm going to continue to monitor. I want to take care of those SPY trades. I've got a trade in on the SPY for next week. Let's see if we can get a $6 to $7 move. If we do, great. If we get more to the upside or downside, I don't care. I just want to see if we have a trade for next week that works out. Real time on the. Ooh, this is interesting. So real time gamma levels on my SPY. This one at 540 really lit up. Look at the size of this one. 703. So I'm going to throw it out there. If you're watching some levels today, 540 seems like a very realistic level. Okay. So if we see a directional breakout and you're watching this price action, we get below 543.70, 543.50. If the bears keep the pressure on here, 540 is a very real spot. So I'm looking for some direction. If this pushes lower, this one has been lighting up really nicely. If I take this to real time on the SPX, Let's see if this lights up to the downside as well. So index-wise, this one still has some gamma squeezes to the upside. 5490, 5500. This one is lighting up slightly at 5450 and 5430. So obviously watching closely, we'd have to break this 5460 zone. Hopefully truthfully, I hope the pressure stays to the downside just for a little bit of technical obedience and because that's the trade I'm taking, right? Donna says, terrible luck with connection day. Sorry about that, Donna, but glad you're here. All right, so we've covered the SPY, we've covered the SPX, we've covered some futures trades, we've covered currencies. I left off, I think, on Euro CAD. Let's cover some more currencies. I'm gonna keep the SPY up here watching. Chart alarm set. I'd like to see also if this gets below 542. That was my assignment. Okay, so this is the Iron Condor assign sell level. Check P&L. So the two accounts that were assigned short, I'm gonna look to see if we hit that level today, and I can actually close that for a profit. And that'll be a net profit because I still have a bull put spread that's way in profit today. But if we can get below 542, that'd be awesome. That'd be much easier to close that trade out. EuroCAD, we left off here. Euro Swiss, I still like bullish on Euro Swiss. We had a slight turn, wait for a trend line break, but this to me is a nice crown pattern. If we come back for an equal low, this is a good double bottom as well. Euro pound, I'm waiting to see if we get a pullback. I did see something yesterday that the Bank of England is expecting to maybe cut rates 1 or 2 times by the end of the year. Again, we've talked about this central bank monetary policy divergence, right? Certain central banks are pausing, certain central banks are cutting, and that is certainly going to open up some volatility on some of these currency pairs. 84.80 is a sell trade I've got pending on the euro pound for a test of this level. That'd be a bit of a gap fill. So if we fill the gap and then fade from there, I'm looking to see if we come down lower on the euro pound. Something happened to I had blue lines on this chart, I thought. Euro yen still hasn't eclipsed the intervention highs. Watch this trend line break. I wouldn't be short on this one unless we were making like a bear flag below this recent low. But again, that's got to break and show it. It's not showing it right now. Euro New Zealand. If we break the trend line, I'm interested in going long, but the Euro Aussie is outperforming. Aussie is up. New Zealand is slightly weaker. So the Aussie New Zealand has been a good trade to the north. If this level holds on the Euro New Zealand, we could break this trend line, get right back up to these range highs around 81 to 81.50. No trade on it as of yet. If you're a buyer, you got to wait. If you're a seller, there's no confirmation to continue to sell yet. Euro dollar, we are short on the euro dollar with a stop loss above 108.50, and we're looking to see if this wants to retest a 106 or possibly 105 levels if the dollar index continues to push higher. Pound Aussie has turned to the downside. No trade in this one yet. Pound Canadian, we get out of the trade. We bought in around 74. I closed it for like 30 to 40 pips. Some traders hung on to it, had a chance for 150 pips right there. I was wondering if we're going to have a turn to head up towards 7,800, but this right now, I want to see what this does. If this is a little baby crown at the top, high, low, lower, high, lower, low, there might be a bit of a high in place, and this one may work its way back down. There's pivots way down here. I'm not doing anything yet. I'd rather sell it at 78. Just kind of stay out of the chop right here and kind of assess the direction. You can see that it's it's kind of messing around with that trend line, so I want to keep a close eye on that. Okay, keep a close eye on that. All right, pound Swiss, I'm still looking for upside, waiting for a trend line to break on this one. Pound yen, broke the recent highs, nothing to do there. Pound New Zealand, no trade. Pound dollar, still kind of boxed in, no real direction. New Zealand CAD, pulling back with some overbought conditions, but I'm still looking to buy. I want to stay long New Zealand CAD, Aussie CAD. I like both of those currency pairs. New Zealand Swiss, nice little turn, wait for a trend line break. It's right here. Smaller time frame, see if that just breaks the trend line and starts to continue to head north. Hopefully it does on positive swap. New Zealand yen, man, I'm glad that we got out of that short position. We got in here with a short position on really good technicals, grabbed about 40 pips, but it has continued to push stubbornly higher. Again, overbought. If it keeps stretching, at some point this is going to break and maybe have a reality check, but I'm not trying to call that top. So I'm glad that we got out of the trade for some profit and we didn't force more trades into it because we'd be upside down probably about 100 pips right now. So glad that one's not tying up our capital or any of our time. Dollar CAD, let's go, man. Dollar CAD, I'm trying to stay long. We got a nice trend line here. My stop loss is below 34.75. And I'm still looking to see if the dollar CAD can retest 39.50. Dollar Swiss, if we can break this trend line or settle back into some fib levels, we have some deep left structure around 86.87. We might have some symmetry around that same area. I'm looking to get long dollar Swiss from there. Dollar yen looks like we are just posturing to head up and try to get a test on this intervention high. Again, levels you want to pay attention to: 160. Watch the 160 handle on the dollar yen. Does the market reject that? Do we see another level of intervention? We're about to find out, right? Okay, so checking one thing very quickly. Check this account here. I got everybody's trade in for the SPY, I believe, right? Yep, I did. Okay, for this account, go back to that SPY position. SPY. So I have the shares. I have my call. See if I can close these out together. Price is at 543.45. I can get about 20 cents out of that position. Let's see here. If we get below 542, I'm just going to check the SPY again. I'm telling you, like that big gamma level's 540. I would be super, super happy to see that thing try to test 540 today, if possible. So, I mean, I don't have to do anything. It's at 543.50. I can close out, maybe get 20, 30 cents on that call option. I mean, I should do that just to open up. I want the option buying power, the stock buying power. Obviously, I don't need to do anything there. Let me see if I can close this out. See if I get the high end here. 55, 543.79. Give him about 20 cents on the position or so. We're trying to break those lows on the day from yesterday. So if we break yesterday's low, not just poke them, I'm talking about a 5-minute candle close below that. It would be really nice to watch this thing sell off today. So I think I'm just going to sit tight, see if we get down to 540 today. Once I get below 542, that is my line right here. We get below 542, all of a sudden my assigned price is going to be in profit. If I can grab any extra credit out of the sell call, that's fine. That's just going to be added profit. Otherwise, I could just exercise the two together and still close it out for a defined risk trade with the iron condor. But if we get below 542, that's actually turning this thing into a winner. So I'm going to give it a chance probably by like noon today when things settle back down, see what the market wants to give us directionally in the first couple hours of trading today. Okie dokie. That's all the currency pairs. It's 9:48. Any other questions? Any other charts you want to take a look at? BNL, 15 bucks. What is this one? Real estate investment trusts. I don't know, man. I mean, that certainly seems doable. If this is a REIT, I don't know if I have a Simply Wall Street snowflake analysis on this one. Let's see. BNL. So is this a correct one, Broadstone? And that looks more like a crown than a cup and handle. So I do have a snowflake analysis on this one. Industrial focused diversified net lease REIT that acquires, owns, manages primarily single tenant commercial real estate properties. Long-term basis, diversified group of tenants, trading well below estimated values. Earnings are growing. Interest payments not well covered. Earnings forecasted declined by the average of 11%. Unstable dividend track record. So, I mean, there are some risks associated with this. If there's some competitors that look a little bit better from the dividend side, past performance, health, I mean, these don't look super attractive. So, I mean, that might be a position you sit in for a while. We could have some indecision on this. Yeah. So to me, this looks more like a crown because we did have some structure here. So if this is a crown consolidation, if it wants to head higher, I would just be aware of something like this, that we struggle to break. Now let's use straight lines. If we struggle to break recent high, recent low, recent, right? I mean, just it could be really choppy in here. So if I got a position low enough, which might be like 14 bucks or so, anything around like $14 to, I'd say $14 to $13 would be a bargain price. There's not a ton of history. This goes back to 2020, but there's probably some better trades out there. But as far as a little option trade, there's a longer term trend line you can keep an eye on. Watch those lows at 14 and 13, maybe establishing a position in there. It could be a spot that you just throw in an option, throw in a credit spread, grab some credit if price stays just above these support levels. So I could keep an eye on that one. But that's going to make me kind of deep dive into some other REITs as well. I mean, I'll take a look at how some of those are behaving. I do need to watch CVS today. As long as we stay above $60, I get that stock called away for about $6 a share today. And I think my Chewy stock is doing pretty well. It was, at least. I've got a covered call for August out to 27.50. That'll help me flip this to about a $7,000 profit. And I did do a nice little flip earlier. I flipped this when we got closed out about $20. That was about a $6 win. Right now, I'm doing about the same thing, looking for about a $10 win because I'm keeping it in my Schwab account. So anything else that looks of interest? Amazon at 187. Apple at 210. Let's go to the daily chart. Okay, daily chart. Apple at 210. Maybe some profit taking going on. Nvidia, we continuing lower. Yes, we gapped lower. We're continuing lower. That is certainly going to put some pressure on the downside today. Microsoft pre-market was up. We're starting to fade that a little bit. See if we get some direction. Let's go Bears. That's not a Chicago Bears thing. That's a market Bears thing. I'm a Lions fan. Let's see. I felt like that was something about Mary. I'm a Niners fan. And what else? Apple, Nvidia, semiconductors. Let's see how they're doing. They're pretty much looking exactly like Nvidia right now. Tesla, choppy. Netflix has recently broken some highs. We're sitting there just off of the all-time highs on Netflix, just off the all-time highs. Meta, I haven't looked at this one in a minute. Meta put in a top back in April, has not made a higher high. So anyway, just taking a look at some stocks. I see somebody's asking about PLZ. Or you want DXY. PLZ. That's a stock, Donna. No, we'll look at SPX. Or DXY, sorry. DXY at 105.84. The line that I keep talking about is this 105.60. If we close today and close with the weekly candle above 105.60, that is going to give me a slight bullish tilt to my dollar index outlook, because I have been waiting since this crappy noise in May to get something above 105.60 or below 103.90. We had said fundamentally the dollar is the cleanest dirty shirt, because it's the central bank that's pausing. The market thinks we're going to have 1 to 2 cuts this year. The Fed keeps saying the same thing, like they don't want to cut at all, but the markets there's still a 60% probability we're expecting a cut in September. So if we have a cut in September, you got to wonder if you're going to have a cut in December to go with that. And then you're going to see quarterly cuts going into 2025. I think the issue would be if we cut in September and we start to see an uptick in inflation or oil prices are higher, then I don't know, that might be the way that the Fed breaks something, right? So 60% probability versus 34%, the market's still anticipating a September cut. But remember, we have data coming for June's inflation in July, July's inflation in August, August inflation in September. This is going to change, right? For better, for worse, this is going to change. So I think right now I'm just chilling, but I think the dollar, if we sit above 105.60, to me this looks better to be long. But assess each dollar cross as is. The only pair that I really like is the euro dollar. Okay, DXY hitting some fresh highs. Let's see. This is a E-mini futures at 55.27. So futures is looking like it's pointing a little bit lower. Let's go to the 15-minute or 5-minute chart here. So we're breaking that kind of intraday low right in here from yesterday. So this is around, this is around 4 a.m. If we can break that low and keep pushing, that's going to put pressure on the downside on the SPY and the SPX. I want to see if the SPY can get below 542. Nice little gap lower today. So we closed at 546. We opened at 544. That's a decent little gap. So we gapped around 0.4%. One thing I want to show based on that gap fill, 0.4%, I think that makes the probabilities where we're probably looking at like a 50 to 60% gap fill. So if we go by size, 0.4%, okay, 70% of the time, this is a gap to the downside. 68% of the time, this gap is not filled. Okay. So that, I mean, today it looks like if we gap lower, we look to stay lower. If we go by weekday, let's see how many times Friday likes to fill gaps. By Friday, gaps down oftentimes get filled, so we have a bit of a contradicting data point. And again, I mean, the size, as they say, sizes matter. But by weekdays, 74% gets filled on Fridays. But by size, 0.4%, which is exactly where that gap was. So the close yesterday to today's open, you're right here. Your opening, that is a 0.48% gap. And now your probabilities are 68% of the time that type of gap size does not get filled. So I would like to see if the pressure remains to the downside. If you wanted to be a credit spread trader on the day, you could look at the same thing on the SPX. This might actually give me a chance to take a trade on the SPX. So if we had a slight gap lower, I could probably put a credit spread in around 54.70, maybe 54.80 if the credit is decent. Let me see. So SPX trade for today. This would be a 0 DTE. 54.70, 75 if I sell that. So 54.75 by 80. I mean, it's right on the cusp of that expected move. I know it's triple weighting. We could certainly have some volatility. I mean, it's questionable. I'm not looking to take that much risk today. It's not a huge buying power. I mean, if I'm right, great. If we put pressure to the downside, let me see what the gamma level is today on the SPX. Gamma level that's lighting up is still, I mean, this one changes so fast intraday. I mean, look at this histogram stuff. We're jumping all over the place. So this 54.90 starting to light up a little bit. This 54.50 is probably my largest level that we actually came down to test. We're very close to that right now. So, I mean, I'd like to see just these, pink histograms line up and get a little bit larger and kind of take over the flow. But if we end up testing this level and ripping back up here to have a noisy day, I don't want to put a bear call spread in the way to, get chopped up on the trade. So I could grab $1 out of this if it stays below 54.75, but there certainly is some risk if we come up and test today's intraday level. We test and fill the gap today. If we did, then that's going to make my trade a little bit vulnerable. So I probably will just stay out of that for now and just focus on my call condor. If price were to come here, Donnie, you good on the DXY? So if we have price dropping a little bit lower towards the bottom end of the expected move, that makes my call condor kind of the optimum window. Otherwise, it's going to be about a $4.50 loss today, which is okay. I mean, it is what it is. But if directionally we actually push lower, that would be an ideal window for me to grab some profit. But I got to watch the prices. So I think I'll pass on the credit spread scenario. We gapped lower. Come on, man. Hit this chart alarm. 542. Let's see some profit taking today. Nvidia's down, unless Nvidia's going to be like bought right away. This is probably another stock I'm going to take a look at. If Nvidia's like, we're going to fill that gap, then this would look, if Nvidia fills this gap today, this market's going to find a way to probably rally and rip back up and fill a gap as well. Largest percent decrease since April. Well, I mean, the stock hasn't gone down since April, so makes sense. All right, anyway, let me set some fresh chart alarms on Nvidia as well. If we're going to push lower, I guess that would help me realize what direction we're probably going to see on the day. So if we go lower versus a gap fill, that'd be coming back to this level. I finally have some alarms that I can add to my charts now. All my 400 alerts. All right, we'll see how it plays out. Okay, so I'm going to continue to watch my SPY, my SPX, watch my price levels. I did take a kind of a double debit trade on the SPY for next week. I just don't feel comfortable going out with 0 DTE or just going out to Monday. So I put in a debit around $5.77, looking to see if I get anything to cover that $6, $7, $8 a movement next week, good or bad. So up or down, that's hopefully enough to make some profit. I've got a max profit on I think the upside $10 and about $13 or $14 on the downside. So it can turn into a slightly favorable reward to risk if I let it run. Otherwise, if I'm just taking my 15 and 25% take profit levels for high probability, that works out just fine. All right, chart alarm set there at 542, watching SPX, watching SPY. And we'll continue to monitor my prices, watching the VIX as well. Where's the VIX at today? VIX 1352. That's, I believe, down from yesterday. VIX, it's a little bit lower than yesterday's close. There's my daily, 1357. Watching this level closely. We'd have to sell off a lot more for the VIX to spike up here to fresh highs above, 15 bucks. So watching closely. 10 to 15, extremely low VIX. 15 to 20, historically average VIX. Anything greater than 20, high VIX. So there are kind of some warning signs out there, but we'll see if there's any direction for this triple wishing session for today. All right, here's the deal. It's 10 o'clock. I'm going to let you go. Come back in 15 minutes. I think I'm on the stream with A1 Trading at 10:15 a.m., so I'm just going to take a small breather, wet my whistle, grab some coffee, and I'll see you back here on the Pulver Report, youtube.com/Chris Pulver, or wherever you're streaming. Do me a favor, before you leave, hit that thumbs up button. Like the video. That helps a lot. That helps get this video in my sessions when I go live. That gets it out to other traders, pops up in their feed. So they can see, that I'm live and all that stuff. So if you like the content, anytime you watch my videos, watch my live sessions, if you hit the thumbs up button, that does go a long way and help. And that would just be a nice little habit for you to get into if you're checking me out on the channel. Just like, that's all it is. Just a little click of the button. I think you're all capable of doing that. All you traders out there that are pushing buttons, placing buys and sells, you can certainly click that thumbs up button. Yeah. All right. I'll be back in 15 minutes. Come back and join me on this channel, youtube.com/Chris Pulver, and I'll be joining the A1 Trading team to wrap up for today's session. Okay. And then equities on demand will start there around 11:15 today as well. All right. See you in a little bit. Thanks. Bye.